Before we dive into this spine-chilling plot twist, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Shadu dashed like wind to his brother's screams, only to find an ancient bizarre monster munching his brother's corpse in a cave. Alarmed, he drew his silver sword to fight back. To his astonishment, the monster not only displayed no trace of fear, but also ridiculed Shadu. Then, it swiftly charged towards him, swiftly grabbing a handful of dirt infested with wriggling nematodes and forcefully stuffed it into Shadu's mouth. This was truly a heart-wrenching and brutal reality to endure. In the blink of an eye, thousands of nematodes grew until they invaded Shadu's body as if they were attending a party, causing him to be utterly paralyzed with fear, unable to move. The monster fell, paused like a video. Upon Shadu's return, his body drastically changed. He could only venture out at night, causing kids to vanish. No one saw Shadu again, but at night, the villagers were haunted by the sound of something tapping on the ground. They whispered that the mutated Shadu had become the notorious. As Abel followed Zeus's trail of chaos, he ended up at a factory and encountered a monster that looked just like Zeus. Vaughn dragged Abel into a dark chamber, where Abel was shocked to see Gus had joined Vaughn's team. They had been on the hunt for Zuzu, and Vaughn slyly led them to meet three ancient ancestors, like opening a secret portal. When Abel saw this, his jaw hit the floor. Legendary ancestors actually existed. Vaughn cryptically told Abel Zuzu was the runaway big brother among 7 ancestors. The troublemaking Zuzu possessed the superpower of splitting his consciousness, making things extremely complex. One wrong word could blow the whole situation. When Abel inflicted serious damage to Zuzu, it just happened to let the other ancestors witness a major show. Now they wanted to team up to handle the Zuzu mess, but now Abel hesitates, facing the 3 ancestors, only recalling the legend on defeating foes. He recalled a book titled The Light of Falling Rain, which contained everything about the ancestors, including ways to take them down. No sooner had he spoken than the 3 ancestors reacted in a way that was out of this world, with shocked expressions on their faces, promptly convening an urgent major discussion. At that moment, the 3 ancestors meticulously prepared and presented an awe-inspiring visual feast for Abel, a truly unforgettable and magical experience under the brilliant sunshine. Meanwhile, Eve and Nor brainstormed a vaccine to save those 2 Edelgrov infected by the virus. But the virus killed the host before transforming, tying up their research. Just then, Abel returned. He didn't spill the beans about meeting the ancestors, but was instead contemplating how the ancestors reacted to the light of falling rain, feeling quite tumultuous. Then he took Eve and the others to a storage room, which housed all the gear he had made over the decades, just in case couldn't let mosquitoes attack unprepared. After storing for so long, Abel forgot which locker, relying solely on intuition. Suddenly, they stumbled upon an unlocked locker, and everyone got as tense as a cat who just found a mouse. As they opened the door, an old couple stepped out, with the old man explaining that their building was crawling with monsters, so they felt safe hiding here. Seeing that the couple wasn't infected, Abel decided to press on with Eve and Vasily to find their gear. They finally found the right place, with the locker packed full of all sorts of weapons, even Abel's handmade silver bullets. The warehouse lights went out. Eve found the switch with her flashlight, but as she turned it on, monsters pounced, creating chaos. Meanwhile, Nora's location was also hit by monsters. The group was compelled to engage in battle while retreating, hastily dragging the elderly couple towards the direction of the exit. And at the very moment Vasily heard the gunshots ringing out, several monsters burst forth beside him. This, indeed, is the terrifying and genuine essence of a zombie invasion. Abruptly, a monster leaped down from the car roof, attacking the old couple. Vasily managed to eliminate it just in time, but sadly, the couple had already been wounded. Under the ultraviolet light, squirming nematodes began to move beneath their skin, looking like something straight out of a horror movie. Vasily contemplated offing them, but Eve stopped him, claiming she needed their bodies for experiments, hoping to find a way to combat the virus. She was meticulously selecting her test subjects, breaking the necks of the ugly ones on sight, while those little monsters were merely freshly turned probes. Just hours ago, they were blind school students. The principal told them to move outdoors. Sponsored by Rock Art, they arrived at their new building to find Ahasta a nightmare. Shortly thereafter, Ahasta surrendered all the students into the hands of the Blood Group, and this action made things incredibly murky in the blink of an eye. Just a few hours later, the little probes crawled out of the ground quick as lightning and with senses sharp enough to make anyone shiver. Kelly, the shook guy's wife, chose the little probes, mutated yet clever. She returned to the Blood Group. The Blood Group aimed to use her intellect to find hidden humans via probes. Meanwhile, Short Guy was still in the lab working on the vaccine, while the elderly couple began to mutate. The blood group wasted no time strapping them to hospital to prevent harming others. After extensive tests, they discovered the pathogen consuming the cells of the infected. What a scientific miracle. Thus, the two decided to cultivate a batch of pathogens for experiments, a true shining moment for... Meanwhile, Kelly guided the probes back to their previous abode, preparing to personally sniff out the concealed targets. She tossed some clothes on the floor, and after the probes caught a whiff, they scattered to search frantically. In a downtown alley, a man struggled with a heavy package. Two patrolling officers noticed him and found his behavior suspicious. When the officers opened the package, they were astonished to find it packed with dirt. The man claimed it was all for his master's rest. The man's explanation didn't convince officers. One picked up dirt, and nematodes crawled out like at a festival. Seeing this, the man laughed and fled, but another officer snagged his wig. The man immediately shifted to serpent mode for a counterattack, while the officer quickly drew his gun. What an explosive scene. But the officer's actions utterly enraged the fleeing man, who roared at the sky and summoned a horde of monsters, a scene straight out of a superhero movie. One officer tried to hide in a car to call for help, only to be yanked up by a monster and quickly turned into its dinner.